Very good morning to all of you. I, Dr. Mayuran, welcome everyone of you to the VINGNANAM Research Conference 2022. On behalf of the organizing committee of the VRC 2022, the VINGNANAM Research Conference falls under the umbrella of Jaffna University International Research Conferences 2022. It was first initiated in 2018 as a satellite conference, and this one is the second Research International Conference after 4 years. The main theme of this research conference is bringing research and innovation to the forefront in the new normal. So in the new normal, we have almost struggled for 2 years because of COVID-19 pandemic. Right after that, we have been going through the worst economic crisis ever that we had in our country. So in this new normal situation, we conduct this research conference via Zoom and in person. So the next event is lighting of the oil lamp. Before going into that, I would refer the great Greek philosopher Aristotle quote. He says it is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. So we are under a crisis, but we need to focus on bright light. And also, the great Maharaji Prem Rawat said, there's a proverb, it is better to light the candle that curse the darkness. He said, this is our choice. You can sit there all day long, all night long, and curse the darkness. Or you can say, oh, it's dark, this is dark, and you can say many reasons. And you can still stay in the darkness again and again. But there's another way. You can say, you have another choice, that is, you can light the candle. So I would like to invite the Vice Chancellor to light the traditional oil lamp first. The next, the Dean Science, Prof. P. Ravirajan. On behalf of the deans of other faculties, I call upon one of the representatives, Professor Kannadasan. On behalf of the heads of the science faculty, I would like to invite one of the representatives, Dr. Arivalanan, the head, Department of Mathematics and Statistics. Okay. And all deans of other faculties, I would like to invite.
Dean Management Studies, Professor Nimaladasan. Dean Allied Health Science, Mrs. Dabodharan. Dean Faculty of Hindu Studies, Mrs. Muralidharan. Former Vice Chancellors, Professor P. Balasundram Pillai, Professor S. Mohanadas, Professor N. Shanmugalingam, former Dean Graduate Studies, Professor Mihundan, former Vice Chancellor, Professor R. Vigneswaran, former Dean Graduate Studies, Professor Mihundan,
On behalf of the heads of the science faculty, I would like to invite one of the representative, Dr. Ariwalahan, and the head, the Department of Computer Science. Finally, I would like to invite joint conference chairs, Professor K. Velayathamurthy and Dr. P. Aingran, to light the traditional oil lamps. Next, we will have 2-minute silence prayers. Thank you. Please be seated. I consider it a great honor to welcome the Vice Chancellor onto the stage first. May I invite the Dean of Science, Professor P. Ravirajan, onto the stage. Next, we look for the presence of joint chairs, Professor K. Velayathamurthy and Dr. P. Aingran on the stage. Okay. With equal pleasure, I invite Dr. Tlasida William Sandakumar onto the stage. So the research and innovation are two main parts in the science field. Recently, the Ukrainian mathematician won the field medal. Her name is Mariana Wysoska. So she said she worked for 10 years to produce that particular research that discussed about how to densely pack spheres into 8 dimensions. It is not easy to pack spheres into 8 dimensions because in the reality we only have 3 dimensions. Okay. I would also like to invite the chief editor, Professor Sashi Hayes. Okay, now it is the time to call the Joint Secretary, Dr. Mrs. Tulasida Williams Sandevamar, to present a welcome address.
Thank you, Dr. Mayuran. Our respected Vice Chancellor, General Chair of the Jaffna University Research Conference 2022, Professor S.Sri Satkunaraja, former Vice Chancellors, Deans of the Faculties, Council members, our organizing partners, Professor V. Dayalan and team, Western Norway University of Applied Sciences, Norway, keynote speaker, Professors Bragadiswaran, Annamalai University, India, invited speakers, Dr. Yogaraja Pradeepan, Ulster University, UK, Professor Sabesan Yoganathan, St. John's University, USA, our International Advisory Board members, VRC 2022, professors, senior lecturers, presenters, and online participants, guests, and my dear students. Good morning to you all. On behalf of the Joint Secretaries of the VRC 2022, it's my pleasure to welcome to you all to our VINGNANAM Research Conference, VRC 2022 of the Faculty of Science, University of Jaffna. Faculty of Science is one of the oldest faculty in the university, always enlightened the academic research culture in the region as well as in the global platform, even during the difficult times in its history. As such, we are conducting research conferences at national and international levels and student symposia. So this year, we are happy to organize the International Research Conference under the name of VINGNANAM Research Conference for the second time under the sphere of Jaffna University Research Conference, JUICE 2022, with the great guidance of our Vice Chancellor. The title VINGNANAM Research Conference was chosen from the journal VINGNANAM, which is released by the Faculty of Science since 1980s. The Tamil word VINGNANAM means science. So our journal publishes research papers, short communications in the field of science and technology. The Western Norway University of Applied Sciences, Norway, and the Faculty of Science, University of Jaffna, are having research collaboration for more than 5 years, headed by Professor V. Dayalan and Professor Ravirajan of our faculty. So this time we are fortunate to have this conference jointly to provide a platform for local and international participants to share the knowledge and experiences. So due to the prevailing situation in the country, we have changed the conference in hybrid mode. Before we begin this important international conference, I would like to welcome our respected Vice Chancellor, General Chair, JUICE 2022, Professor S.Sri Satkunaraja, on behalf of our organizing committee and the Faculty of Science. I wish to welcome our former Vice Chancellors, Professor P. Balasundaram Pillai, Professor S. Morganadas, Professor R. Vigneswaran, Professor Sanmolingam, for their presence and blessings. Also, I would like to welcome our co-organizers, Professor V. Dayalan, Head, Advanced Nanomaterials for Clean Energy and Health Applications, Western Norway University of Applied Sciences, Norway. Very warm welcome to you, sir. We are very much thankful for your financial and intellectual supports through Norwegian Directorate for Higher Education and Skills and Norwegian Embassy, Colombo. I wish to welcome all the collaborators and members who are joining with us via Zoom from Norway. I would like to welcome our keynote speaker, Professor S. Bragadiswaran, Director CAS in Marine Biology, Annamalai University, Tamil Nadu, India, who is online. Thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation to deliver a keynote address. Also, I wish to welcome our invited speakers, Dr. Prathiban Yogaraja, Ulster University, UK, Professor Dayalan Velupillai, HVL, Norway, and Professor Sabesan Yoganathan, St. John's University, USA, who are also in online via Zoom. Very warm greetings to all the presenters who are online and here from Sri Lanka and abroad for this great day. It's your day. We are waiting to celebrate to you all. I would like to welcome all the council members, librarian, assistant librarian of the University of Jaffna to our research conference. I warmly welcome deans of other faculties, Professor Kannadasan, Dean, Faculty of Graduate Studies, Professor Nimaladasan, Dean, Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce, Mrs. T. Tabodaran, Dean, Faculty of Allied Health Sciences, for this important day. I would like to welcome our International Advisory Board members, and also I would like to welcome heads of the departments, our conference chairs, co-chairs, and all the chairpersons for this technical sessions in this conference. I would like to welcome all the respected senior professors, senior lecturers, undergraduates and postgraduate students of the faculty, assistant lecturers, demonstrators, instructors, non-academic staff, and all the participants for this conference. Thank you.
Thank you for your welcome address, Dr. Mrs. Tulasida William. Next, I humbly request one of the joint conference chairs, Professor K. Velayudamurthy, to deliver his address.
The respected Vice Chancellor, University of Jaffna, Professor S. Setkunaraja, Dean, Faculty of Science, Professor P. Ravirajan, today's speakers of the conference, Deans of the faculties, respected council members, co-organizer of the conference, Professor V. Dayalan, heads of the departments, librarian, Mr. S. K. Deesan, academic and non-academic staff members of the University of Jaffna, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear students. Very pleasant good morning to you all. First of all, may I take this opportunity to thank each of our speakers today taking part in today's conference. The quality and caliber of our speakers this year are second to none. I also want to thank all of you at home for connecting via online, especially this morning, and I hope you will find the debates and discussions useful and interesting. As a joint conveners, we are delighted and honored by welcoming you all to the VINGNANAM Research Conference 2022 under the sphere of Jaffna University International Research Conference, JUICE 2022, which is organized in collaboration with the Western University of Applied Sciences, Norway. The theme for this year's conference is bringing research and innovation to the forefront in the new normal. When pandemics sweep through the countries, the years 2020, especially 2021, were full of challenges in economy, climate change, health change, education, national safety and security, and trust in the government for scientists as well as the world leaders. These challenges increase inequality among the societies, academics, and countries. To eliminate these inequalities, the new normal requires changes in the way fundamental scientific research to innovative technological transformation. We strongly believe that the fundamental research and its innovative transformational will pave the way to develop the knowledge-based economy required to address the current economic crisis in the country. We hope that the conference shall allow the participants a productive discourse not only in aspiring for excellence in research but also in innovative developments in science. In this regard, some of the underlying issues are covered in depth in this conference by the keynote and invited speakers, for whom we extended our heartfelt appreciation. We would like to extend our gratitude for the main sponsors of this conference, the Norwegian Directorate for Higher Education and Skills, and the Royal Norwegian Embassy in Colombo. Also, we would like to thank our collaborator, the Western Norway University of Applied Sciences, Norway, and hope that this joint venture will continue in the future as well. I would like to recognize my esteemed general chairs of this committee, the respected Vice Chancellor, University of Jaffna, as well as the Dean Faculty of Science, University of Jaffna. The leadership and the expert input at every juncture and the milestone of this historic process has been instrumental into the ongoing success of the VINGNANAM Research Conference 2022. As a conference chairs, we know that the success of a conference depends ultimately on many people who have contributed to planning, organizing, and conducting the conference. Here, kindly allow me to express my deep sense of appreciation to each and every staff member of the Faculty of Science who made great sacrifice, worked extra hours, and went the extra mile to help us to get to where we are today. With your continued dedication and determination, I am pretty confident we will reach the mountain top together. Finally, on behalf of the organizing committee, we wish the VINGNANAM Research Conference 2022 be very successful. Thank you.
To enter this moment further, I would like to invite Professor P. Ravirajan, the General Chair, to share his thoughts with us.
Our respected Vice Chancellor, Professor Sri Sakuraja, the Chairperson of the Youth 2022, and the Organizing Committee, and our former Vice Chancellors, Deans of the faculties, heads of the departments, lecturers, professors, other academic and non-academic staff. And more than that, I would like to welcome the keynote speakers, Professor Dayalan Velayapillai, Professor Bragadiswaran, and Dr. Pradeepan and Dr. Sabesan. So good morning, everybody. It is my great pleasure for me to address this great event of the faculty. You know that because the university have three major functions. One is disseminating the knowledge, generating new knowledge, and contribute to the society. So the other colleges, they can actually do two functions, but generating new knowledge is only actually done by the universities. So the university should play a major role in that. While we shouldn't actually forget our primary duty of teaching. As far as the Faculty of Science of Jaffna University is concerned, so we have been actually contributing in both applied and fundamental science researches. So our senior academics, they sacrifice themselves and then bring our faculty to the higher level by collaborating with the reputed institution. And in fact, actually, they went over there and then they did the research work and then bring the university to the higher level. So they have a next generation. So we have the facilities, so we can actually bring equipments, and so we actually made some contribution to do the research work even at our universities. So it's not that easy because everybody worked very hard and then they contributed. So you know that the Jaffna University is now rated as the rank 3 in the under Simogo ranking and also the Asian QS ranking. So under the Simogo ranking, actually, our university is rated first in the country in the innovation category. But the contribution made to that achievement, you know, you should actually think about which are the faculty actually contributed. In fact, actually, the Faculty of Science actually made a significant contribution by filing 2 US patents and also several hundreds of journal paper appeared in high impact journal by collaborating with reputed institutions. Our faculty, in fact, actually have good, highly skilled and highly qualified and dedicated academic staff. They actually do both teaching and research, you know, in significant way. And in this case, this is actually the second conference, VINGNANAM Research Conference. So we have been conducting several student symposiums and also the international conferences for the past few years, and which gives a platform because people can do research, but you know, if they don't actually disseminate them and if they share the knowledge with the others, so then there is no point. And also those papers and those work should be cited by the other fellow researchers. So otherwise we can say that because we haven't done nothing. So in that respect, actually, I am proud to put on record that the Faculty of Science itself actually contributed more than 5,000 citations in highly impact journals. This conference, in fact, actually give a great platform to our researchers and also the other researchers, collaborating researchers and also other national university researchers. They have been actually contributing some more than 43 contributions. So all of them actually peer reviewed by their experts. I would like to thank the organizing committee who has been working tirelessly, especially the editorial committee and then logistic committee and then financial committee and also the technical committee. They have been actually working, you know, day and night despite of this unsettled condition. Things are now moving. I think 1/3 of the staff now actually at the fuel station because the university staff, because they can now get the fuel. So you know that the problem also there, but even this condition, so we managed to actually conducting this conference. I wish the participant, the presenters to have a productive discussions and make extra, you know, links between the fellow researchers and then continue their success. Thank you very much.
So the co-organizer of this conference, Professor V. Dayalan, Head Advanced Nanomaterials for Clean Energy and Health Application, Western Norway University, Applied Sciences, is unable to join with us physically today. However, the online platform gives us a room to have him here through Zoom. Let's welcome our co-organizer via Zoom.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, sir, you can.
Thank you. Dear respected Vice Chancellor, Professor Sri Satkut Raja, Conference Chairs, Professor Velaidamurthy, Dr. Aingaran, Conference Secretary, Dr. Mrs. Shanta Kumar, General Chair, my dear friend, Professor Ravirajan. Yes, I hear you, but do you hear me? I can proceed? Yeah. Professor Ravirajan.
Yes, Dyalan, you can proceed.
I can just proceed, yeah. One moment. I will do a small thing here. Okay, I will start again. I will restart again. Dear respected Vice Chancellor, Professor Sri Satkut Raja, Conference Chairs, Professor Velaidamurthy, Dr. Aingaran, and Conference Secretary, Dr. Mrs. Shanta Kumar, General Chair, my dear friend, Professor Ravirajan, Deans, Head of Departments, former Vice Chancellors, academics, researchers, and students. It is a great pleasure for me to address you at VINGNANAM Research Conference today on behalf of Western Norway University of Applied Sciences. Actually, I was supposed to be with you today, but with my colleagues, but unfortunately, because of the prevailing difficult situation in Sri Lanka, we couldn't travel from Norway as we are not advised by the government of Norway to travel to Sri Lanka now. I really miss this opportunity to be with you all at this moment because I have good memories from the last conference we had, AMSEHA 2019. So I expected a similar conference this time as well with a lot of international researchers on board. But even though you face a lot of difficulties now, I am overwhelmed to see that you organize this conference as planned. University of Jaffna has a great history in showing tremendous courage and commitment, even during the difficult times during the war period, in continuing with your educational and research activities. So you are known to that. So my heartiest gratitude goes to the tireless commitment of all of you who have contributed to organize this conference. As you are aware, as mentioned already, our university, Western Norway University of Applied Sciences, Norway, and the University of Jaffna have been involved for many years in multiple collaborative projects on higher education and research in clean energy technologies funded by the Royal Norwegian Embassy in Sri Lanka and Norwegian Directorate for Higher Education and Skills under the NORPAT program. One of the objectives of these projects is to share knowledge with fellow researchers and disseminating research findings through international conferences. So I sincerely hope that VINGNANAM conference renders a good platform for all involved in this conference to enhance their research careers. I feel that universities are the pivotal contributors to society and nations to create generations of able, independent, and confident personalities who will be the cornerstones of the nations. Universities are also obliged to generate new knowledge, as Ravi mentioned, and technology, and to educate the younger generations to be scientific leaders and innovators. I think presently we have this current situation in Sri Lanka due to that we have been an importing nation. We actually have, if we have a look at Vietnam, for example, they have a lot of innovations nowadays, different companies, international companies, have placed their branches in Vietnam, and we should have these type of things in Sri Lanka. That is what we lack. So we lack innovation. We have intelligent people, we have skilled people, but maybe we have passionate people as well. We need both intelligence, skill, and passion to be good leaders, but there is something missing. So we have to work on it. So these type of conferences, I think, will help our next generation to come up with innovative ideas and work on research and get in touch with international experts. These type of things are very important. That's what I feel. So Faculty of Science of the University of Jaffna has been actively involved in both high quality research and dissemination of new knowledge in a variety of research fields that has contributed highly to the reputation of University of Jaffna internationally. Because now University of Jaffna is internationally known. I have been in contact with a lot of expatriates, internationally, and all are talking about University of Jaffna and Faculty of Science, So I think these type of conferences will also encourage our expatriates abroad to come up with new type of collaborations with University of Jaffna. So currently we have 5 research students from University of Jaffna at our university doing their research, and 2 more students are expected to join them in August. So we are looking forward to broaden our network and to include researchers and academics from other departments of University of Jaffna in the coming years. So I will use this opportunity to thank all the organizers, especially the Vice Chancellor and former Vice Chancellors. It's great to see former Vice Chancellors here as well, and Deans at University of Jaffna for all these collaborations we have been having for the past 6-7 years. So I sincerely hope that all the researchers, academics, students, and participants have a successful conference. Thank you.
Professor VINGNANAM. We also thank you for bringing 2 main sponsors, Norwegian Directorate for Higher Education and Skills and the Norwegian Embassy, Colombo. Now let us welcome the man who doesn't need any introduction and known among all of us for his wisdom, his knowledge, and his charismatic leadership, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Sivakolandu Sri Sarkunaraja, to say a few words of encouragement.
ஒன்றாயிரம்பி பலவாய் விரிந்து இவ்வுலகெங்குமாய் நின்றாய், அனைத்தையும் நீங்கி நிற்பாய், என் நெஞ்சினுள்ளே நின்று புரிகின்றவா, இப்பொருள் அறிவார் அன்று ஆளிலே துயின்ற பிரம்மாணம் என் ஐயனுமே. So everything has an origin. Then it's become a culture. Actually, culture exists through the tradition. So use originated in 2012. One of the top people who have contributed, use originated when the full-time strike was on for 6 months. Another dark time. The entire Sri Lankan University was closed. The Dr. Ramanan is here, is a joint editor and thing. Ravirajan, Ravirajan coined the name use, and Dr. Angaran was the popularization publicity chair. A number of people were there in 2012, and it was a great beginning. So that has been rolling. So now it's got another dimension. So that was a 2-day conference with so many tracks. Now I have been addressing the use in the 3rd conference. So the proud Nimalasan is resting now after having the conference last week. on the transforming the business for the resilience of the crises. And we had a Siddha indigenous in the February, so promoting Siddha to the new dimension. And today we are having the science use. In the coming week we will have the Manudam Arts, the centenary of the humanities studies, and their one is also well organized, one evening and another full day. Very prominent people are coming. So actually, the origin of everything is a disturbance, it's a source. The source is very disturbing. I know some people, we say Kulapadi. Actually, things originate from Kulapadi, otherwise nothing will happen. If you look at the source sun, it's a very volatile organ or entity. No one understands this. So we began this conference with the lighting the oil lamp. So for someone, for a child, this oil lamp is like a flame, only give the light. For someone who touch this, they will know there is another phenomena is there. The heat is there. Otherwise they won't know. That is the research is all about, another perception. Then someone, chemist will show there is a carbon monoxide is there, it's not even burned. So that pollute. So it's another perception. So no one understands this flame either completely. So similarly, someone looking from the outside, another planet. So Earth is so blessed. There's no evidence like this planet exists anywhere else, any type of planets. It's full of wealth, green, milk, fish. Today our speaker is a marine-oriented speaker. So if we look at the human beings, what we want, Vingnanam, somebody said it's a Tamil word. No, if you look at the coconut, there is outer layer, it's laminated, so it can float into the water. Then you go inside, there is a fiber. Right? Then if you go inside, there's a husk. Then you go inside, there's a kernel. Then you go inside, there's a juice. You understand the juice? It's not dissemination of knowledge and this and that. These are stereotype of telling. Juice is the essence of everything, what we do. What we offer to the world. That is, we are in the SIMACO ranking, innovation and research. We are in the first. We have to congratulate Thaniya Chellan. He put a couple of, patentship with his supervisor. The prince did, I don't know, it didn't come out as a recognition at the time. Now, first time as a Vice Chancellor, I see a Sri Lankan national patentship in my table. It belongs to a technician, Harichandra. He designed a the pipe originated from automatic control. So first time in my life, I am being in the last 40 years, I got the national patentship from a technician. So the wonders happen. No, this is a celebration. Life is a celebration. We say in our language, Nityam Utsavam. So similarly, in the human beings, we have Annamaya Kosam, the Kosam layer. We have a Pranamaya Kosam, we have a neural system. I know Selvarand did some research on neural networks. Engineers, they are trying to do neural network business. Physicists trying to do. We have a neural system, Pranamaya Kosam. Air control everything. Without breath, we can't live. How it comes and goes, we don't know. The first thing we check when we born is the breath. The last thing we check when we go out of this is the breath. Air circulation. Without that, we can't mend anything. Then there is a Manomaya Kosam. Wingling minds. How it be focused. The research is all about focusing. It won't happen just like anything else. Consolidated effort in a solitude place. That is make the research. So mind has to be controlled. Very difficult. Is compared to monkey. So many psychologists work. So many theories are there to control the mind. So manomaya kosam. Then ancient time people said vingnanamaya kosam, siddham. Manam putti siddham. There's a cognition. Our university, we actually develop cognitive development, arivisar virutti. Vingnanamaya kosam. Analytical studies. Empirical studies are not analytical studies. Empirical studies give a platform to the analytical studies. Einstein, yeah, he gave the analytical studies. Then people did the experiment to see whether his hypotheses are right. Still they are doing. With absolute nature of the light, still is being checked. Because he put a limitation to a signal communication, 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second mind. Then others are still checking whether we can communicate to sun faster than in 7-minute duration. So we are checking still. There is a problem, there are challenges. So Vingnanamaya kosam, analytical studies, it's a discipline. Kabila Muni is famous for that. And it is called Sangaya Yoga. You merge with the Supreme by analytical studies, not by rituals, not by anything else, not by meditation, analytical studies. Vingnanamaya kosam. Then the Jews come, Anandamaya kosam. Everyone wants to be like this. So Vignanam very close to Ananda. You understand? The kernel and the juice. Ilanir and the very close. That's what, when you come to research, others are business oriented. Applied science, engineering, technology, it all matters when you commercialize. But today science research will contribute maybe centuries later. We are using this phenomenon like signal processing, lights, and all these audiovisual devices. The Maxwell contributed in the 18th century, putting this electricity and magnetism together, unified theory. Without his equation, nothing moves. Engineers manipulate. So it's okay, because we want to be Ananda. That's what we created universities. Universities only 1,000 years old. That is also theological university. Oxford University only 900 years old. Jaffna University is 47 years old. In 47 years old, we are expanding very fast because we have been fed. We have been fed. So many works have been done. Today the VC media is throwing everything because they have been fed by scientists, by workers. So it's very important in a university we celebrate our researchers because they do the research in solitude. That's what I want to celebrate. Today in the science faculty, a lot of research grants have been tapped. So I think consider Velayathapulla Thayabalan as our research fellow. I don't consider as a Western University man. He is our research fellow, senior research fellow. He is mentoring a lot of students. Then the physics department, Vigna Ruben, and the chemistry department, Velayamurthy and other teams, they attract a lot of money, Sasigis. So these people are contributing because university is expanding. If you want to blossom, some flowers has to come, some fragrance has to come. How it's come? It's by teaching, producing, convocation. So there are a lot of infrastructure development going on. So how many people are contributing? So when you come to this research part, the conference is very important because assimilation of knowledge only comes from hearing. The Guru take a big role. Guru Vata Mandra Moolam, Kiruba Moksha Moolam we call it. Guru inde Kirube illama naanga ondum valarilla. So this place is a lot of teaching done, lot of undergrads are now being developing into new dimension. They are contributing. In Simocod ranking, we got to have 3 things. Index publication, at least scopus. Okay, to have this, to enter this ranking, we got to have 100 publications per year. Only in Sri Lanka, 7 universities got into that rank out of all the 51 higher degree institutes. And Jaffna is 3rd. And the management dean is here. In the management domain, his university is ranked #1. Congratulations, sir. The management domain, better than Sri Javadhanapura. So people are contributing. So this is what important, because this gives a visibility. Then our graduate goes, I am being a heartlead, I am respected because there are so many heartleads, they have shine in their life. Even a man gracing a goat in Oxford, coming here and telling I am from Oxford, he is respected. He only admitted the Merva. We say this name and, okay, what did you do? What is your best thing? They won't tell. These are Cantab stories, Scott stories, right? So, to bring the Jaffna story, today is respected, I tell you. I move around in the country, I see people, so they say Jaffna man. Even the crisis, Jaffna look exclusively all right. Why? Because our people are working hard. Our thirst for knowledge. Okay, knowledge brings happiness. That's no doubt about it. For our former vice chancellors are there. They have been shouldering this place under very, very trying circumstances. I said the origin of problems, even when I was in the womb, first day, no one understands the phenomena. It's a completely chaotic environment. So I survived. So Manikavasa says in the Bodhidharma, even surviving from that day is a big challenge. I survived. Origin of light, origin of heat, origin of energy from sun. If you can't reach the sun planet, it's so complicated. Similarly, very testing. So in a crisis is the mother of invention. People are now trying to think alternative way. Okay, clean energy technology. We all know in 50 years' time there wouldn't be any fossil fuel. Today, the richest company was joked as a joke earlier. The Tesla, the electrical vehicles. Everyone thought it won't be performing. Today, Tesla man having more babies. He said that's also a problem in the world now. People are not having enough babies. Tesla man married 3 people and richest man in the world. He said he wants to have more babies as possible before he goes, whether he mind the electrical vehicle or not. So Tesla, look at this Amazon. Yeah, top customer service, deliveries from multi-dimensional business. Google, 1998 only originated, same as the age of management faculty, half of the age of science faculty. Today we cannot live without Google. So a lot of research done in the companies also, but they are secret. When you come to science faculty, without, what is science? It's a basically organized form of knowledge. Knowledge brings happiness. Organized form of knowledge. That's what the mathematician coming, the statistician coming. How to organize the knowledge? You need a language. You need a simple. Today everything is spoken in terms of digital. Flight 917 coming. Sugar level 120, hypertension 140. So numbers are speaking now. Everything. One day they will say dead because something in number is there, missing. Everything measured in numbers. So that's what in every discipline, this faculty of, origin of science, if you look at in the history of mankind, is originated from, physics, mathematics, all natural science were together in the Pythagorean time, Plato time, Aristotle time. Then it's bifurcating. Now we have a biological science, life science, we have a physical science, material science. We have input around 400 students. It's unimaginable. Some few people, if you go in the Hall of Fame of US, Hall of Fame, they put only 500 people in the entire human history made the changes. Jesus is there. Moses is there. Einstein is there. All are Jews. Newton is there. Ramanujan is there. Some best musicians are there. Artists are there. Sony is there. Toyota is there. They made changes in the entire history of human civilization. They put only 500 people. In the science faculty, our input is 500. So what sort of wonders we can make? We are striking now because no petrol. We were running this university in the 1990s without a drop of petrol. Petrol not even in the dream. You know what I mean? So how the university exists, even the entire world, not before 1,000 years, but human beings are for a long time. How this happened? Our indigenous knowledge, they had a healthier life, happiness. Service bring happiness. Service bring happiness, not arguing. There might be 99 reasons for not to do things. There may be only one reason to do things, make others happy. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Juice is growing, Manudang coming, Allied Health ladies right with the Arokium, and our library is ready with Erdaham. So it's, now we brought this juice into another dimension in umbrella setup. University is prepared to compensate. I want to thank all our plenary speaker Balageshwar, Pragadishwaran, the plenary speaker. We want to hear from him. The Marine, I want to say, finish my talk only one thing. It came from my own idea. People in the conference talk about ideas. The best brain talk about ideas. Average brain talk about incidents. Even at the lower level, they talk about gossips, people. Now I see in the all groups, they talk about people. So in this idea, I tell you, in this planet, there are so many living beings, terrestrial, aquatic, because our plenary speaker coming from aquatic. In the aquatic, there are more mammals. Whales, sharks, so many fish, so many entities, they are living entities. But there's no school, there's no bar, there's no universities. There's nothing. No kitchen, no vehicle, no petrol. They are living happily. They never ask for anything more than what they require. Even fish won't eat other fish unless it's absolutely necessary. Absolutely necessary. So in the aquatic environment, there's no conference. I don't know, they may love, they may have kids, they may eat, they may sleep, they may defend themselves. But here human beings, we build schools, we build universities. It's a regional university, it's an asset to Jaffna. Our Thailand, again I say, in 83, most worst disturbance attacked us, burning us. At the time he migrated from Moratoa University to Norway. The most difficult, it's not the Koda go home and this bloody shouting and entering. We burned like anything else. We never forget. I was in the final year. At that time, Dayalan went to Norway as a humble man, lost all his hope, and now he is the senior professor bringing glory to our university because he desired for it. He aspired for it. Then God give us that aspiration fulfilled. Today he brought 400 million around the wealth to our university, postgraduate training, conference. So he's like our gold mine now. I'm telling this, how this happened. And his children also doing well. All three are medical doctors. A short man. He does delivering. I'm telling this. How this inspiration come? I told you, even the disturbance, order of chaos, there is order. Now the nature is setting itself. Like a corona, it's a disturbance for people. There's a message there for the entire world. We had to go austerity. Even Angaran now says, our central bank, now again the dollar retention is down to 1 billion because we are sacrificing. It will grow fast if we keep our nose tight for some time. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So I am so thrilled, the Western University of Applied Science, Norway, and this University of Jaffna, led by our dean, they brought a lot of glory, applied research in the health, and other gentlemen, professors, who have done wonders. That's what we are showing. Jaffna mother is decorated in the crown with so many jewels, shining. Those signing come from a lot of things coming from the Faculty of Science. I'm also being a part of the Faculty of Science, so I'm so delighted. And the use will deliver, it go to another dimension. I think it will grow. The VC media capture everything. Now in the university, every single event is captured. It's go into annals with no time. So that's again is a blessing. And you are Taliban from science faculty, and they are all working very hard. And recently we had a building for the computer science. It's a wonderful things are happening. We are waiting for the fisheries. And the NOPAD project, we have been collaborating with the Norway for a long time. And the Professor Balasundaram knows the CNO project. And all this has been happening because Norway is a very close partner. I finish my talk by actually thanking all these conference chairs, Velayamuthi Angaran and Sasike's editor, and Williams, a very pleasant young lady, carry all these burdens despite all the pulling and pushing and all this, and those who have contributed to the show by putting a papers and believe in our system, because I always put the paper in JSA because I believe in JSA. It's originated in 1992, again in the darkest moment of our Jaffna history. Now it has been delivering. People have come and presented this sectional chairman address and everything. They put those things in the professor applications. So all benefited. Now department level conference are going, undergrad conference are going. So all are been is value addition. That's the way we celebrate our life. Nityam Uchchavam. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for our opportunity. And also I want to thank the people of Norway for the continuous support under the mentorship of Velayapla Dayalan. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, dear Vice Chancellor, for sharing his wisdom in an engaging way. The next is the most awaited moment, that is the release of the conference proceeding. So I hand over the mic to the Chief Editor, Professor Ganesha Lingam Sasike.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I am delighted to have an opportunity to serve as a chief editor to organize and put together the proceeding of the VINGNANAM Research Conference, VRC 2022, which is a hybrid mode conference hosted by the Faculty of Science, University of Jaffna. The VINGNANAM Research Conference proceeding is committed to the timely dissemination of excellent research abstracts. We are aware that only improvements in science and technology will enable us to meet the challenges of the 21st century. We invited the researchers all around the world on 1st of February 2022 to submit their research work, and we fixed the deadline of the submission as 5th of May 2022. During this period, we received a number of abstracts from the researchers from all over the world. However, following a thorough double-blind review process, only 43 abstracts were selected for the oral presentation and publication in the VINGNANAM Research Conference proceeding. Readers of this proceeding will definitely learn something new from each of the abstract, because they are reflect to the VRC trending theme is the bringing research and innovation to the forefront in the new norm. On behalf of the editorial team committee, I would like to take this opportunity to extend our sincere thanks to our readers, collaborators, sponsors, authors of the submitted abstracts, and all of our reviewers, all of whom have voluntarily helped us to review the papers on particular time frame. A team of 63 experienced reviewers from the broader research area, they help us to finalize the review process. all reviewers submit their review reports before the deadline. That one we decided as a 19th June 2022. The double-blind nature of the review process and confidentiality were strictly maintained throughout the review process. The NDA submission and the review process will be managed through the Microsoft Conference Management Toolkit. We are confident that our authors and reviewers are using the system for their manuscript submission, and the review purpose will find it act as a user-friendly and straightforward. As the conference chief editor, I greatly appreciate and thank all of the VRC committee 2022 committee members, especially conference chairs, general chairs, and our editorial team members for their continuous guidance, support, motivation, and valuable suggestion. Finally, I wish everyone attending this conference whether online or in presence is a very interesting, intellectually stimulating, enlightening, and enjoyable research conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the Chief Editor. Now, may I request the Vice Chancellor to come forward and receive the conference proceedings from Professor Ganesha Lingam Sasikes. So now the Vice Chancellor will receive the conference proceeding from Professor Ganesha Lingam Sasikes. Next, I would like to invite the technical chair, Professor K. Vignaruban. Now, the Dean Science, Professor P. Ravirajan, will receive the conference proceeding from the technical chair, Professor K. Vignaruban. Now, I request the former Vice Chancellors, Professor Palasundaram Pillai and Professor Sanmugalingam and Sanmuga Monadas to come forward, and Professor Vigneswaran to come forward and receive the conference proceeding. Next, I would like to invite the heads of the science faculty, Dr. Arivalagan, and the head computer science, Dr. Sudhagar, Dr. Mrs. Abraham Sivaruban, the head Department of Zoology, Professor Mrs. Kuganathan, and the Professor Kabilan, the head Department of Botany. Oh, okay. Oh, oh, oh. AHS?
AHS,
Okay.
management, graduate studies மேலே graduate studies போகலாம். அடுத்தது management, அடுத்தது AHS, அடுத்தது Hindu studies.
Hindu studies D now.
Hindu studies அடுத்தது library கூப்பிட்டு library.
Now I would like to invite the librarian to receive the conference proceeding. Mr. K. Deeswaran. Now I would like to invite editorial committee members of
Shyamalan, please come to the front. Sir, Nilima sir, Dina group. Shyamalan, Pradiba Sungal, Varadan, please come to the stage.
Now may I call upon the Dean's Graduate Studies, Allied Health Science, English Studies, Linguistic Studies, and Hindu Studies, Management Studies, to come forward, and Hindu Studies. So the next event of this inaugural session is the keynote speech. The Professor Procodes will deliver the keynote speech. He is a professor at Annamalai University, and he also serves as the director of the Directorate of Research and Development at Annamalai University. So he got his PhD from the same institution in marine biology and oceanography in 2003. And also he had served as a professor, as assistant professor from 2003 to 2012. Then as a professor, now he's been a professor from July 2015 to till date. So I would like to invite the keynote speaker to deliver his speech in marine bioactive compounds from marine organisms. So now he will join with us virtually. Through Zoom.
Tulsida, and my former colleague, Professor Sivasantini Guganathan, Department of Fisheries, and former head of the Department of Geology, my good friend. We have a very good linkage between Annamalai University and Jaffna University. From Professor Badmani Krishna Raja, and my good friend Professor Sivasandani and Abhirami Sivarupan. Good morning, Nandal. The title of my presentation is Bioptic Compounds from Marine Organisms. When we are talking about any ecosystem, that ecosystems are, we can make it by that nature, aquatic and terrestrial. When we are talking about aquatic, there is marine and freshwater. The characteristics of marine is salt and large volume of water mass. That it's cover 3/3 of the Earth. Recently, and last 4 decades, the people are searching new molecules for human welfare from the aquatic resource. And originally, for human treatment or therapeutic purpose, we are normally in Ayurvedic in nature. We depend this plant, herbs, and other sources for human disease management and also for treatment. But the recent scientific era, the people are looking for new compounds for from the nature, from the aquatic system, to get a food, fuel, medicine, and other non-medical compounds and non-living resources. For mainly for we can depend for living and non-living resources from the marine system. Livings, all the flora and fauna, and the minerals, petroleum hydrocarbons, we depend them a large volume from the oceans, because they have a large quantity of these are in this floor of the sea. And regarding that, our title, the natural product, we depend from this sea or from the flora and fauna. The flora is it's like in a microscopic algae, phytoplankton, even phytoplankton, then seagrass, seaweed, and mangroves. This flora is highly rich in the human therapeutic values. And from this animal groups, from single cell, from protozoa to mammals, in all the phylum, all the animal groups, we have very good therapeutic values. And for searching a new treatment of human alignments for never ending, and we are looking for new drugs, because we severely affected a recent phenomena, there is a COVID in the worldwide. So people, we are trying to develop a new source of treatment to the human disease. And there are about 15,000 novel biotic compounds were already described from marine organisms, plants, animal, and there are about 300 patents who are registered in the worldwide, and from 36 phyla, from among the 36, 34 phyla are represented marine groups, marine animals, and they are described about 3 lakh species in this tropical, temperate, and polar regions. And there are many drugs or new drugs were discovered every year. And all this biotic compounds, natural biotic compounds, are there are very good in structural and chemical features, not found in this terrestrial. So these are peculiar and very good structural chemical structures of marine biotic compounds. They are because they are available in different kind of environment, and they are a very good source for future exploration of new drugs from the marine. And marine animal and plants are adapted in all sorts of marine environments. So they have competition, predations, and surface fouling and reproduction. So these pressures, they have very good compounds. And the recent year, many biotic compounds have been extracted from various marine organisms like marine bacteria, fungi, algae, seaweed, sponge, soft corals, sea herb, nudibranchs, bryozoan, sea slugs, and acidian, that's called procodes, and even in higher marine organisms, vertebrates like fish, reptiles, and even in fishes. And all the fish, they have a mucus, and also they have very good mucus contained secondary metabolites. The modern technologies is opened a vast area of research for extraction of biotic compounds from the sea for deadly disease like in HIV and cancer and recent phenomena. And also there is very good anti-inflammatory and antiviral activity. Then there is also the people are developed immunomodulations and also neuromodulatory therapeutic value drugs. And this is, you can see these, the phylogenetics of animal group from protozoa and sponge, coelentrates, then nematodes, molluscan, and arthropods, and echinoderms, and then procods and cardids. In all these animal groups, we are already there. We started to explore and isolating therapeutic value biotic compounds. That compounds are classified, and also we are structured for the chemical synthesis. And this is, you can see this, that early history of scientific starting. In up to 70s, there is a very few works research has taken, but in after 2000, the research are exploring by very difficult, very good. And this second slide shows that the research are the compounds isolated, majority of the compounds isolated from this marine sponges. That identification of marine sponges is very difficult. Of course, it is a sedentary organisms, but now that it is coming under in a red list as concerned in India, even though it is red listed as second multicellular species, they have very good potent anti-cancer product. This is the statistics of natural product till 2000 and 2003 and model 2005. This is the contribution of different groups of organisms for isolation of marine biotic compounds. And marine biotic compounds, we are developing enzymes from microbes. They are producing secondary metabolites, then fungicides and biochemical materials nutraceuticals. Then we are developing even biosensors for detecting anything from the sea by developing, and also that non-medicals agents like antifouling compounds from echinoderms, egg moth, ink, and also from other molluscans. And major product is antibiotics, antimicrobial, antifungal, antiviral. We are developing from marine organisms and toxins. This is a diversity of biotic compounds produced from in the marine environments. And this is not in a single science subject. It is involved a different field of biological science and also chemical science. Even now that medical applications are, so they are involving for developing these drug administrations, and there are different collaborations make use of this chemical diversity for human welfare. And there are in medical, there is two kind of things. One is inflammation, cancer biology, and infections of parasites. We can control by this extract, by this medical. And then another things, biological science, the stem cell research, then developmental biology, chemical genetics, and non-medical, that cosmetic, biofouling, metal chelation, and catalysts. That is from the marine resource. This is the basic fundamentals of isolation of marine biotic compounds from compounds from marine organisms. When we are doing any starting this kind of research, we have to understand whether these animals produce any kind of biotic compounds or not. Because in the ancient times, the people are dependent on the sea only for food. That is called fish and fisheries. We are depending for food additional, that is a protein. We are depending. But recent days, we are trying to develop a new molecules for different kind of purpose. And when there are two kind of organisms in the sea, one is the poisonous, another one is venomous. What is the difference between poisonous and venomous? The venomous organisms, they produce a toxin by a gland. There is a venom gland. So, for example, the coelenterates jellyfish, they have nematocyst in the body tentacle, and also in this case of higher invertebrates like mollusca, the conus, that cone shell, they produce venom duct from the proboscis, and they produce the venom gland that is called conotoxin. And in the case of higher vertebrates, reptiles, the sea snakes, they produce toxin by venom gland. Through the fangs, they can inject it to the prey. The purpose of toxin producing by organism, by the animal, only for prey and predator purpose, not for biting the human or something. But our concern is we have to develop antidotes for the bites of marine organisms. From that, we understand this venom having properties of new drug formulae, so that we are started from there. Then another one is poisonous. The poisonous marine organisms, they are not having any specific venom gland, so but they produce a certain poison. For example, that buffer fish tetrodotoxin are producing the poison, and also certain bacteria and fishes. They are poisonous, not venomous. The poisonous they are producing by the form in the form of secondary metabolites, not from the specific gland. So there are two groups. This is a poisonous, another one is venomous. So when we are starting for isolating a venom or a venomous organisms, we are using that a different kind of solvents, fractions. The solvents, in the sense, there is an aqueous, and also in a chemical solvents. In the aqueous means we can directly put it the water. It is sterile water for diluting these venom for further research. In the case of certain organisms, they are not dissolved in the water, so we depend certain solvents to active fractions. So we can make it the fractions with the different ratios of or the percentage of water and solvents that selective. We can make it as a selective extraction. From that, we can go for chromatographic studies. Then we can have different molecular size by chromatograph fractions. Then finally, we can make a purification by using different methods. And from the pure active compounds, we can have a basic bioassay. The basic bioassay in the sense we have to test whether the toxin or extracted compounds having any activity. That means when we are doing this kind of research, basically we have to understand whether these fractions having any activity, molecular activity, then we can proceed. Otherwise, once you are proceed after reaching any certain level, your fraction may not be having activity. The activity in the sense that viability of your sample, your extractions or fractions continue to give any results. That means because why this is happen in this marine product, marine extraction, that sometimes they are thermostable or sometimes thermoliable, and also we can test the stability of the compound with the temperature, pH, and all physical property. Then we can go for that in vitro activity or you can use bioassay by antimicrobial activity or any animal model toxicity study for before preclinical studies. So, because when we are going for this kind of study, experimental design, we can go for with this international standards, that is GLP standard and OECD guidelines, because this protocol is worldwide is applied for this kind of study. Even you can study you are taken the study in Sri Lanka or some other places, because the same organism, if you are collected in the eastern side of Sri Lanka and the western side of Sri Lanka in the Bay of Indian Ocean, it shows a different kind of activity because of the regional orientation, regional or the location of the organism. So for example, if you collected a fish from east coast of Sri Lanka or sometime in the west coast of Sri Lanka, it shows a different kind of activity because that environmental conditions, it is influence these biotic compounds in animals. Then the basic studies once you completed, then you can go for in a preclinical and clinical studies to test your compound having drug. We can go for the drug lead natural sources. And another side, we can make it a structural, chemical, and biological studies, because once you develop the structures, we can go for biosynthesis or we can go for chemical synthesis. Otherwise, that exploration of marine organism for continuously extraction, it is very difficult because that source of sustainable usage of these compounds is very not possible. Yeah, here you can see that we can use a different kind of solvents with water, hexane, ethyl acetate, N-butanol. When we are doing this combination of this extraction, The portion of extractions will dissolve in hexane and ethyl acetate and butanol. Then we can classify this is the case of based on the polarity of the solvents. High polarity is the water because it is a universal solvent. Whatever that contained in the venom or poison will be dissolved, and the remaining will be dissolved in hexane, acetyl ethyl acetate, N-butanol, and sometimes we can use chloroform also for dissolving this. That we can make this extraction by the two methods. One is we can use lyophilizer and also the rotovapor. For rotary evaporator, we can use for solvent evaporations, and for drying, we can use high pressure cooling freezer that is called deep. That we can freeze the samples and dry the sample for further usage. And that low medium and high medium, we can have two different polarity, because certain molecules, they are dissolved that based on the polarity of the solvents, so that we can have. And again, we can go for HPLC, column chromatography, and this you can make it your sample in a pure active compounds for further research, further your extraction. And by structural elucidation, there are two aspects. One is spectroscopic and another one is spectrochemistry. By this way, we can analyze the sample, nature of the sample, and we can elucidate the structures of your sample further. And that's marine microorganism. Already I spelled out something about these microorganisms from the surface to bottom. They are associated with all kinds of substratum available in the marine, the algae, animal, and all, even soil. These we can explore for biotic compounds for isolating, and there are commercial. Already we are in the clinical under the clinical trial. For there are certain thiochloride. It's inhibit DNA. So this has anti-tumor and anti-cancer drugs, but it is under the clinical trial. And another one is MC21A and biphenol oil. It is isolated from pseudo electrons and phenolica. It is used as an antibiotic. This also this is a polycyclic. This is a cyclic compounds, and from this marine microbes. And another interesting holomycin. This is from Vibrio family of bacteria. It is used as antimicrobial compounds. In certain bacteria isolated, they are using as pesticides for controlling the pests in agriculture field also. And these are dibutyl phthalate. This is from Pseudomonas species. It is antimicrobial, and it is dibutyl phthalate. The structures also develop, and microlactin from symbiotic microbes. There are the microbes, they have associated with the other organisms. They have a very good potent antibacterial and anti-larval. Sometimes that we reduce to control the developmental larval stages of unwanted organisms. That is called like fouling organisms. They are attached of larvae at the marine structures. For continuous fouling, it will be created large, very critical problem for shipping and maritime activities. So this also used developed. It's called sapromycins for streptomyces, and it is used as a anti-cancer drugs. And another one is a streptomyces. It is isolated from the jellyfish doom. Jellyfish doom. It's a moderate antibiotic, and it has a very good anti-inflammatory properties. It is induced in the mice model, animal model. So these anti-inflammatory drugs now used for surgically. Before surgery, the doctors induce the inflammation of the surface of the skin. Then it will be the surgery will be very easy to complete without any damage of blood vessels. And these are again these are the described compounds developed from the microbes. And there are tetralone, lepidopteridons, and lamanisis, and tetromycin C, streptomyces, linoleic acids, and actolactose. And these all already in the field of not in the commercial, they are in a preclinical. This is the fungi, marine fungi. Fusarium, it is developed from Fusarium E. Then Aspergillus, it is another fungus. Aspergillus gagus, it is a marine filamentous fungus. It shows a very good cytotoxicity. The cytotoxicity means if the compound having cytotoxicity, by testing a bacteria, it lyses the cell wall. It indicates we can use as a anti-drug development, anti-cancer treatment, because this will reduce the proliferation of the cell multiplications by lysing the cell wall. Then we can have a possibility to develop a compound. When you are doing the preliminary study, there is two assays we can make. One is the bioassay and also the human cell viability. That means we can use a very simple method. We can collect the blood samples from the slaughterhouse, whether a goat's blood or any chicken blood. That RBC we can collect, and we can use 1% of RBC, that 1% of the RBC cell isolated from the blood sample collected from the slaughterhouse. That cell, when you are adding the 1 microliter of your extract into that 1 microliter of RBC cell by 96 well plate, then we can leave it around 1.5 hours. If the cell lyses by your extract, by understanding that your extracts having a property as a cell lysis, so we can use as a cytotoxicity assay for understanding whether that your samples having any anti-cancer property. Again, the cyanobacteria, it is a blue-green algae, dolostrin 10 and dolostrin 15. We are developed for antimicrotubule and fungal activity, and also antifungal activity, and cracin, thiochromycins. They are collected from that's a cyanobacteria, isolated from the cyanobacteria. And there are some marine algae that's microscopic and macroscopic. Microscopic, there is phytoplankton. The phytoplanktons are diatom, dinoflagellates, and blue-green. And these diatoms are a capsule, single cell, but dinoflagellates are a lengthy chain-like formation of algae with the flagellum. They are very good. There is a primary source for marine organism, but at the same time, if there is any uncontrolled addition of nutrition in the sea and nutrient in the sea, it will become multiplication is very fast. Then the water color will be changed. the color of the sea become in orange, sometime in the red. So that water we call it as red water or red tide phenomena. So it is indirectly affect that the ocean food chains. So primarily the herbivores fish are consumed by these bloom algae. So the blue algae contain the chlorophylls. That chlorophylls contains oils. This number will increase in the condition of blooming. So anything adding with more than the number become it's poisonous, toxic to the animal. So that animal become paralytic. They are not in a position to swim properly. They become in a paralytic. That's we can call it as shellfish poisoning. That's called paralytic shellfish poisoning. The animal cannot swim properly. They can lay. They are not efficiently move against the water current. So from that, these kind of algae we are developing certain enzyme inhibitors and also anti-malarial and anti-cancerous drugs. Mainly these algae we are using for treating heart diseases, anti-inflammatory, rheumatic arthritis, and immunodeficiency diseases. And these allow the same from algae, cytotoxic property. There is human. This is another interesting. This human prostate cancer is effective controlled by this multiplication of cells. So it's reduce this microtubule exoskeletons, and this is all same kind of product for treating breast cancers. This is a sensor. These are the list of compounds. It is already published in a different source of the algae, and also the possible health effects also given. And these are this graph shows this artificial compound and compounds from the algae metabolites: cytotoxic, antibiotic, antifungal, anti-inflammatory, anti-fouling, and anti-HIV and antioxidant compounds from marine algae. And the second interesting is sponge. They are colonial organisms. There are thousands of different species. They are sedentary in the deep sea to the shore, and they are floating, and they have very good metabolites, alkyds, and nucleosides. And approximately 1,000 sponges were described in the world. Most of them live in the water, and also there are in freshwater also sponges. And this is a pepamides. This is the sponge. It tested with the anti-HIV activity in the cell-based system. And this is another marine sponge, Octopus. It is also inhibit HSV1 infection in the VRC cells, and that it is transcripts preventing the viral replications during the multiplications. And holocortex is drugs. Dracomycin F is antiviral activity. It is from Dracomycin F, isolated from this holocortex species. This is Halicona, then Hemicera transcensis. These are compounds already described. Because these organisms are exhibiting, because they have very good associations with the microbes. And recent report says that associated microbes are more responsible than that animals, because these associated microbes are producing the extracellular secondary metabolites for activity. This is the compounds isolated, And region-wise, mostly they are in Japan and Japanese waters. There are large number of compounds are isolated, and even in India, we are we had some extractions. And in India, we started a separate research group that is called Drug from the Sea, the Ministry of Ocean Development. And they initiated the network of research in East Coast of India and West Coast of India, research institution and also university. We have developed around 42 principal active fractions from different kind of organisms. And now we are started for developing compounds with the Central Drug Development Research Institute, Lucknow in India. And also there is a lab in Olivera lab they are doing on phonostruction in USA. So this is another interesting group, that's a jellyfish, cnidarians, sea anemone, jellyfish, and these are two soft corals and another jellyfish, floating jellyfish, and hard corals. And in the cnidarians, jellyfish, very critical for like in Sri Lanka and Australia, because that coastal tourism is highly affected by these jellyfish groups, because the intoxications are normally occurred during the summer season, because there's blooms of jellyfish and the swarming are coming. A single box jellyfish enough to kill in a 10 adult human being, because they're having millions of nematocysts. The nematocysts contain venom that is called jellyfish venom. And these we collected our Indian sea anemone, jellyfish, and corals. Corals, they have polyps. The polyps are having certain kind of biotic compounds. But recent the concern is we cannot go with coral because it is banned by the government. Also, we could not make any study further from the hard corals. Only we can go for jellyfish and sea anemone. And the sea anemone having very good mucus secretion, that mucus having antimicrobial and antibacterial hormone. That mucus having wood healing properties. When the fire wound, fire burning for accidental happening in recent times, these burning wounds we can surgically, plastic surgery is taken, but these mucus are used by curing, for treating this burning. In India, there is a laboratory in Central Leather Research Institute in Chennai. They started for treating the human wood burning with the help of mucus, jellyfish, and also fish mucus. In our laboratory, we also do some flatfish. There is a flatfish that we are treating. Artificially, we made a wound with the help of animal model. That animal, the wound was recovered in a short span of time. So it shows a very good results, and further research we are proceeding. And here that sea anemone for development different toxins, and there are some research papers are out from that in 2005. These are the chemicals from jellyfish, sea anemone. And jellyfish, in Hawaiian box jellyfish, Siberia delta, it's a hemolytic activity. They are because they can lysis cells, and these are Caribbean corals, because that's Caribbean waters, coral and sea urchin and sea acidians are a very good source for anti-cancer. These are cytotoxic in Caribbean waters corals. But we cannot now, in India, they are not banned for coral research for extraction of biotic compounds. Then this is a bryozoan. It is an aquatic sedentary animal where the freshwater and brackish water, they are having very good active compounds, and they are structurally very diverse. These are the bryostatin, and they are having very good antimicrobial, anti-cancer. Now they are entered into the phase 2 clinical trial, and also they have developed anti-fouling compounds. And promising, it shows very good anti-tumor activity. Most of these marine toxin, marine active compounds, the research are targeted for anti-tumor activities, because there is no alternate source for drug for cancer research. So there are n number of varieties of cancers are rising now. So we cannot predict for purpose one extractions or a compound for treating a particular variety. So that way there are a lot of research they are making new drugs formulations, and alternates AC, that is the Amandia alternata, shows modest antibacterial activity against the Streptococcus aureus, epidermis, and bacillus for antimicrobial activities. And this is another interesting group. This is called there's crustaceans, arthropods, barnacle, crabs, crayfish, copepod, shrimps, prawn, lobster. And in this arthropod, that's a horseshoe crab. In India, in Orissa coast, the east coast of India, in Orissa, in a particular latitudes, that in Puri coast, that king crab was collected for live crabs were collected, and they are extracting that blood. That is called blue blood, because that color of blood is blue. That blues live specimens are collected, and they are released into the nature sea, and that a small quantity of that extractions. This they are selling in a high price, because they are normally taken in without any further purifications. Simply, the cancer patients are taking by orally, and they believe it is curing that blood cancer. So that kind of practice are in Orissa coast. And very interesting, that is ornamental, very colorful marine organism, mollusca. In mollusca, there is a bivalve, oyster, then mussels, and gastropods, and also cephalopods and cellus mollusca, nudibranchs. And most of this mollusca, they have very good biotic compounds. There's Apoda means the cellus mollusca, that is called aplysia. There's aplysia, they have sea hair, they have ink, blue ink, but sometimes it is called brown ink, and gastropods, murex and conus. And conus very good to have conotoxin, that's called peptide. That conotoxins they are using as a painkiller for alternate use of morphine. Now the morphine is banned in USW Drug and Administration. So these conotoxins in the going to enter into the market very soon. So that is Conus geographus. The Conus geographus is only available between Sri Lanka and India in Gulf of Mannar region. Conus is called Conus geographus. Conus. Then bivalve, the clam, giant clam, that is called Tridacna maxima. Tridacna maxima, it's a killer clam. Normally we used to call killer clam. It is normally go up to 200, 300 kgs. We cannot escape from once you step on that, we cannot escape. So that kind of very tight adductor muscles, but they have associated algae that is called. They can grow very fast in a bigger size. That another interesting group is cephalopod, the octopus. Octopus they have ink. The ink they are using for treating anti-fouling. We have developed a compounds from cephalopod ink with the support of Government of India, that is the Department of Biotechnology, for anti-fouling treatment. Because the 40% of total income from the maritime business is spent for that's called dry docking. That's for treating that marine structures and also ships. And these are compounds are already they are in research for blood cancer. Also, they are using Dollastin 10, Dollastin 15 from the Indian Ocean sea hare. That is called sea hare. It is a nudibranch. And this is an aplysia. This is called sea hare, Aplysia corodi. They have very good anti-neoplastic compounds. This is action, then green muscle, then India verdis. There are hydrophilic and ionic properties. The cells have very good properties, and that pisal threads are used for natural adhesive property. So there now people are working on that, and they have natural glues, development of natural glues, and these are interesting toxic activity from the sea hares. Because there are mainly for the glycoprotein in this sea hares. That's Aplysia, cellulose mollusk. There's a muricin for murex. Sometimes they are also they are acting as neurotoxic. There are two kind of toxin. One is hemotoxic and neurotoxic. The hemotoxics affected the blood RBC. It is coagulating the blood system, and neurotoxic it is collapsing central nervous system. So it is a neurotoxic. It is a block. It is mainly they block sodium and potassium channel exchange messages. And another interesting group that is called echinoderms. The echinoderms is that is sea urchin, starfish, and sand dollars. They have soap-like foamy substance that is called saponin. The saponin having that is called major class of metabolites. The saponin they are using for treating antimicrobial and pesticides. And these are the compounds, astrosarpan and crinidoids from starfish, and this sea urchin represented for the then cytotoxicity for the binding properties. These are compounds we have developed from the echinoderms, and there are because the echinoderms having a regeneration capacity, so we can have a large number of animal. Even we can have an aquarium. We can develop culture this starfish for exciting compounds very easily. And sea urchin and sea cucumber. They are mostly in traditionally we are using for treating very good for purposefully they are using in China, Japan, Korea, and some Eastern countries. We can use for many diseases. It's a polysaccharides, holothurians, and these are sea urchins. And this another interesting group is Assyrian, that is called Procodes. They have isocynes and antibiotic, anti-tumor, and anti-immunosuppressant activity because they are having nitrogen containing the biotic compounds. This is already diazonium is already available in the market because in 2003 it's a clinical trial. Now it is available in the market, and these are the Assyrians are a response for protection of these compounds, and apidlium. This is hermorine, and these are the list of compounds from Assyrians, different species, different region, and also the property, chemical property, peptides and sulfates, lipids, and all. And another interesting is a fish. We consider it is delicious, but at the same time we are trying to develop biotic compounds from these fins, tentacle, and even egg. The kind of fish, the rays, scorpion, zebra, stone, surgeons, they are venomous. So they are having certain toxin, and mainly the buffer fish of tetrodotoxin. They are producing associated with the microbes. They are producing toxins. In Japan, when the tetrodotoxins are producing buffers, are consuming in their restaurants very large quantity. But in remaining other places are the palatable is not good, so the people are not. And there are certain fish. They are in bottom. They are flat fish. They produce a large quantity of mucus because they are avoid to infections by bacteria. That mucus are called. They have developed a toxin compound. It's called paradoxin from fat fish. And this is the tetrodotoxin buffer fish family Tetrodontidae. This is the highest evolved fish groups. Is having 4 teeth. 4 teeth. They have developed then certain lionfish, a Scarponidae family, and on the scorpion fish they produce the spines. On the top they have a venom gland, and therefore having very good properties for antibacterial. This is our catfish, yellow fin sole. Then this is a cray fish. It is normally it's burrowing nature in bottom. They have very good antibacterial activity. And these are soles, dogfish, and the surgeon fish. They have a large number. The catfish spines very difficult because this they have toxin. And everybody, I think, this crocodile hunter in Australia. Crocodile hunter, he was died due to the stingray attack. There's a spine is attacked in this ruptured the lungs. So he was died due to this venomous marine organisms. And I hope this my small presentations, understand that how we can make use of marine source for future human welfare, for treating unknown diseases. Because likely in COVID, recently we had a very critical condition in the worldwide. The large number of fatalities mainly due to COVID, but the possibility of extraction of development of new drugs from the marine source will support in future human welfare. This conference will will give a new eye-opener for the new researcher to take up this kind of research in advanced research from marine, like departments like zoology, fisheries, and biology, biochemistry and biotechnology. The people can take up this kind of research for their career and also for the national welfare. So with this, I conclude my presentation. I thank my personally Abhiravi Surabhan and Tulsida for their invitations, and also my thanks to the authority, Vice Chancellor of University of Jaffna, and the Registrar, Dean, Faculty of Science, and all the participants. You are online and also in offline mode. Thank you very much. If I can share my presentation to organizer, then if you have any queries, you can mail me, and we have to make any, if you need any clarification, I will clarify by you. Thank you very much, the organizer and chair, and personally I thank Abhiravi Sorobun for the invitation. Thank you to the University of Jaffna. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor S. Bragadiswaran, for your interesting talk on bioactive compounds from marine organisms, which range from microbes to invertebrates to higher vertebrates, and their significances, which from antimicrobial, antifungal, anti-cancer, anti-tumor, or the pharmaceutical effects in detail with the methodologies. I hope the keynote address will make impacts to extend our research areas in the region, as we have a good marine resources in our region. So also it initiates some collaborative research between two nations with your institute also. So I wish to thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation and to deliver this keynote address even via Zoom. Thank you very much. So before we move to the technical sessions, it's a time for a vote of thanks. I deemed it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this international conference of our faculty, VINGNANAM Research Conference 2022, on behalf of Secretaries VRC 2022. First of all, I start by giving glory to the Almighty God for making today's success a resounding success. First and foremost, I thank our General Chair, Juice 22, our Vice Chancellor, Professor Sri Satkunraja, for his great support and guidance throughout this journey. We are very proud to have you, sir. I also express my heartfelt thanks to our co-organizers, Professor V. Dayalan, Head, Advanced Nanomaterials for Clean Energy and Health Applications, Western Norway University of Applied Sciences, Norway, for accepting our invitation to serve as co-organizers and their extended services. Special thanks to Professor V. Dayalan and our Dean, Professor R. Ravirajan, for giving us full sponsorship through their research grant. We are grateful to the Norwegian Directorate for Higher Education and Skills and Norwegian Embassy Colombo for being a sponsors of this VRC 2022 by giving financial assistance. It's really a great support to make this event success. We are indebted to our guests, former Vice Chancellors, former Deans, Council members, Faculty Board members, Registrar, the Librarian, and Bursa for accepting our invitation and to grace this event. I extend my gratitude to our keynote speaker, Professor S. Bragadiswaran, Director CAS in Marine Biology, Annamalai University, Tamil Nadu, India, and invited speakers, Dr. Pradeepan Joharaja, Ulster University, UK, Professor Dayalan Vedayitha Pillai, HVL Norway, and Professor Sabesan Yoganathan, St. John's University, USA, for accepting our invitation and their valuable talks in this conference and make our conference more successful and interesting. We are waiting to listen your presentations here. Thank you very much to you all. I thank all the authors and presenters of this conference who are joining with us from abroad and from Sri Lanka through online, and some of them are here as physical presenters. I extend my gratitude to all the reviewers from foreign institutes, various institutes of Sri Lanka, and our Faculty of Science, University of Jaffna, for their unlimited support and review on time. Thank you all. I also extend my gratitude to all the International Advisory Board members of our VRC 2022 for their great support. Further, I thank all the chairpersons who are going to chair the sessions after this. Also, I wish to thank the technical support team of the faculty, VC Media team, computer unit, and maintenance branch of the university for their great support, especially for the great support to conduct this conference via hybrid mode. I wish to thank the librarian for giving us permission to utilize the library auditorium for this conference. I also express my heartfelt thanks to our VRC 2022 General Chair, Professor Ravirajan, Dean Faculty of Science, for his continuous guidance and support to make this event success. I also extend my gratitude to the organizing committee members, especially the joint conference chairs, Professor Velayitha Murthy and Dr. P. Aingaran, the editorial committee members, technical program committee members, web media and publicity committee, finance committee, and logistic committee for their timeless efforts and dedications to make this event success. I thank all the academic supportive staffs who are living nearby the university for their logistic support during this fuel shortage time in the country. Thanks to all of you for being with us. I wish you all to enjoy the technical sessions. Thank you very much. There is an announcement. So those who wish to collect the abstract books, please you can go to the registration desk and you can collect it. Thank you very much.
Good morning.